Second site is me and a guy named Benson. We make electronic dance music with hardware synthesizers. Kind of club orientated, but they're songs. They're not like, it's not like a techno set, the live set. I'm just controlling, I'm making sounds with a drum machine and a synthesizer, an analog Moog, and a old digital sampler. And Benson is manipulating samples with an Octatrack, which is like a performance sampler. Kind of just doing more textural stuff like chopped up vocal samples. Warehouse samples that we've collected from a warehouse around the corner. I'm drawn to new beat and electronic body music from Belgium because of the equipment and sound palette that they use. They use a lot of old digital drum machines and drum samples, like the Emulator 2, and I've got a Kauai R100, which is, I think it's 24-bit, but it's seems to be mainly about these things called DA converters, digital to analog converters. Back then, added a colour to these samples that made them really punchy and brutal. Electronic body music and new beat are distinctly European genres. Kind of borrowing from acid and techno from like Chicago and in the States and stuff like that, but kind of also having like a rich history of like European electronic music like krautrock and Kraftwerk and stuff like that, influencing them. So it's kind of a different take, and it is like one of those things where you know, the Chicago people were influenced by krautrock, and then they made a new genre, and then that got back to Europe, and then they made an even more warped genre out of that. It is an old genre and kind of old sounds, but putting an Australian, I don't know, just like copying and pasting it into an Australian soundscape, I think is something that's been done a little bit with like SPK. And Severed Heads, yeah. Hasn't been messed with that much in Australia, I think, and particularly singing with an Australian accent over the top. The Pleasure Weapon is just a couple of words that I heard in an interview with Genesis P. Orridge. They were talking about pleasure being used as a weapon. I was looking for a conceptual machine. You start imagining what it could be, what it could be used for, kind of thing. So I started writing a song based around this idea of the pleasure weapon. hopefully by the end of the year or early next year, I'll have a release on No Patience Records, which will be a maxi single, which is kind of an old format. It's a vinyl release, so it'll be on 12-inch, and it will include, I guess, the single, Pleasure Weapon, and then the B-side will probably be a remix or two and maybe another song, and you'll be able to purchase it through the No Patience Records web store, or through his Bandcamp.